Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Rob.
I'm Coco.
And together we are
Roco.
Today we're talking about Jam Cruise. Have you ever been on Jam Cruise, or are you thinking of going on a Jam Cruise?
So earlier this year, we went on our very first Jam Cruise 21, which was in February of 2025. And we wanted to make a video to explain in detail about Jam Cruise, what it's like, to let all of you know who haven't been on one before. So at its core, Jam Cruise is a music festival combined with a cruise. So you get the best of both worlds when you go on a Jam Cruise. The one that we went on was a 5-night cruise. It stopped in Belize and Cozumel. It left out of Miami. And it had over 30 bands and 80 performances. So what kind of bands were there? Here's the flyer for the Jam Cruise that we went on. So a wide range. It covers everything from jazz, funk, pop, reggae, R&B, acid rock, EDM, dubstep, folk music, gospel, spoken word. It really is a wide range of musical genres. So it's got a little bit of something for everybody. I would say Jam Cruise just has a totally unique vibe. It's different than anything I've ever been on before, because the music is bringing all of these people together. And so it just has a really cool vibe. Everyone's in a great mood. People, as you can see, were dressed up in one of our costumes that we wore on Jam Cruise. People dress up, they have theme nights. People bring swag to hand out to each other. They make little doodads, stickers, and water bottle covers and pins and necklaces and things like that. And they hand them out to each other all during the cruise. So it has just a lot of like really fun, interesting aspects to it that gave it a really fun vibe. So they've had 21 of these so far. That's Jam Cruise 21 that we went on. Really has a cult following. There's people who've been on all of them. Once people go on it, they really fall in love and they meet people, they make friends, they keep in touch with them throughout the year. They connect on social media, they make plans, they bring more friends. So you meet people on this Jam Cruise that have been on, 10, 15 of these. And so it's really got this cult following, and they even give you different prizes and you get different privileges based on how many years you've gone to Jam Cruise. So what were some of the special things that they had? They have, in addition to the music, of course, that's the main focus. But then they have all these other amazing things going on all over the boat the whole time. So they had a whole wellness program where they have yoga classes, aromatherapy, workshops on Reiki and herbalism and mindfulness and sound bath healing programs and all of these really cool things that were going on.
They had a Masters of Sea program, so that if you are a musician and want to learn a little bit more, here's some tips and tricks from your favorite artists. Not every artist, but maybe a handful would give these classes, so you can come and check them out.
Yeah, I think the Masters at Sea workshop has additional fee. We didn't do it because we're not musicians, but it looked like a really amazing program for the people who do that. What are some other things they had around the boat that we really
I really enjoyed the live karaoke. I was karaoke, but with a live band, and that was really unique.
They had a lip sync battle that was hosted by one of the bands, Pink Talking Fish. So that's the really unique aspect of it, is that all of these activities are being run mostly by the bands. So you had a costume contest that was led by Bertha, the Grateful Drag show. You had the lip sync and the karaoke that were hosted by different bands. There was costume making workshops. There were places where you could swap pieces of costumes out. What else did they have?
Auctions. They were auctioning off live merchandise for all the bands.
A charity auction.
The frickin' frack blackjack was really cool. A few nights during the cruise, they would have this little booth set up somewhere around the cruise. You kind of had to find it. And it was a blackjack stand, but instead of playing for money, they were playing for little miniature prizes. Yeah,
so we had heard about it before, and we brought little doodads from, those Miniverse balls. So we had like tiny little Cheez-It containers and little tiny purses and sneakers and things like that we could play with. And they have all of these doodads in their little blackjack area. And so they'll sort of match what you have. So if we bet a Cheez-It container, they would match us with a tiny little basket of mushrooms or something like that. So it was really fun. Totally different than just playing with money. They had songwriting and poetry
Mm-hmm.
workshops led by some of the musicians. They had a singles mingle the first night, so singles could meet other people on the cruise. So that was really cool. Tell about the chefs at sea.
Well, every night at midnight they would have a buffet, which is kind of cool because that's what cruises are known for, right? But this cruise had a different chef prepare the midnight buffets every night, so with different themes. What
Mm-hmm.
were some of the themes?
I think Southern was our favorite. No
Mm-hmm.
surprise, we're from North Carolina. But they also had Mexi Korean. They had Southeast Asian. They had one was called On Holiday,
Mm-hmm.
and that one seemed to be kind of like Thanksgiving
Yeah,
almost. That was a little bit weird.
not the crowd pleaser.
But it was really fun. And they had,
Mm-hmm.
flown in these different chefs who specialized in these cuisines. So, and they were late night. So, one of the main things to know about Jam Cruise is the music goes till 5 in the morning every night. So, unlike a regular cruise where you're kind of done after the piano bar finishes at 11 or something like that, and there's not much to do except the casino. On Jam Cruise, it's literally going until 5 in the morning and it does not stop. Everybody's partying. So that is really fun. That was cool. I love that. So they give
Mm-hmm.
you pretty much food 24 hours a day. They have these late night buffets and everything. So I love that. Um, well, let's just talk a little bit more about what's different about Jam Cruise than a regular cruise. I think the main difference is that it's not run by the boat that we went on was an MSC cruise line, which I'd never been on before. We'd been on Carnival, Royal Caribbean, probably been on 10 or 20 cruises
Mm-hmm.
between us. But never didn't went on MSC. Haven't heard much about it before, so we didn't really have many expectations. But MSC is not actually the ones that are leading all of the activities and organizing the schedule. It's done, the whole cruise is chartered by a company called Cloud9, who runs all different types of chartered cruises and puts on different music festivals on land and things like that. So they're the ones who are actually running all of the events, organizing the schedule, doing all the logistics. So that was kind of different. And so there were differences like there were no drink packages, there was no soda package. Um, the food was pretty much all buffet. I mean, you could eat in the main dining room,
Yeah,
but
there was
nobody
no
really
formal no
did.
formal dinners. They really just want you kind of getting in there, eating, getting back to the music.
Yeah. So there's not as much focus on the food as there would be on a regular cruise. I know that's a big thing that a lot of people love about cruising, but it's just not as much of a focus on this one. And also, I would say the ports and the excursions were less of a focus because if you're partying until 5 in the morning, it's kind of hard to get up and be on a tender heading for an island at 7 or 8 in the morning. That's really your only chance to sleep and regroup. And also, yeah, they just didn't give you a whole lot of time. So when we went to Cozumel, we were there a normal amount of time, I think 9 to 4 or something like that. But when we went to Belize, we were only allowed to be off the ship from 7 a.m. until 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not enough time to really get off and do much. So I wouldn't, I think the main focus of the Jam Cruise is the music.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what it's all about. There's no cruise director.
No, but from what I understand, it's the same boat every year, but they go different places every year.
Yes. Well, I think at one point they had
Mm-hmm.
different boats, but the
Mm-hmm.
last few years at least, it's been MSC Divina.
Mm-hmm.
So the ship itself is nice enough. It's
Mm-hmm.
not the newest or the fanciest, but it's not the oldest or the worst either. It's just kind of a middle ground, sort of middle-sized ship. So, so again, there's none of the normal cruise entertainment, the comedians, the piano bars, things like that. But there's no time for that because at any given point, there's, 6 different things going on. Actually, more than that, maybe 6 different
Mm-hmm.
musicians playing, and then other activities going on. So we'll put up some examples of
Mm-hmm.
what the schedules look like for the different days. And they really do a great job of organizing everything. Everything stays on schedule. They give you an app that you download and you can, heart the different musicians that you want to make sure to see. So they really make it, it's very well organized, very well run. We were super impressed with that. And, so you're just running around all the time. So any given point, they might have 3 different main stages with different shows going on. They might have 2 smaller stages, and then they might have a yoga class and another karaoke or something like that going on. So there's always like way, way more to do than you could even possibly do, unless you can clone yourself. So, the other cool thing I thought was that the interaction with the band members. So the bands are on the cruise just like everyone else. So you get a chance to, definitely if you're in the Masters at Sea program, you get a chance to play music with them, but they're just around the boat. So
yeah, you'll see them waiting in the buffet line right next to you. Going to get coffee. Andy Fresco was going to get coffee right next to me. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, we stood in line at the buffet, one of the late night buffets, with the guitarist from Pigeons playing ping pong. So got to, just chat with him for 30 minutes waiting for the buffet to open. So
that's really cool.
That's really cool. And the musicians, in the theme of Jam Cruise, they're jamming with each other. So you're going to see a completely different type of show than you would if you just go to see that band at a normal venue by themselves, because pretty much every show, someone from a different band is hopping in and they're playing different songs, they're doing covers, they're just riffing and going in all different directions. So that makes it really, really different, and I really like that aspect of it. So what would we say about who would really like a jam cruise, who it's good for? What do you think?
Well, if you enjoy concerts, and definitely if you love music festivals, I think it's right up your speed.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's really 100% about the music. So if you see bands that you like and you think that a cruise type of vacation appeals to you, I would definitely check it out. Something that we felt like was that, I don't know, we're sort of aging out of the hardcore music festival. I feel like we're just not really interested in camping in the dirt and all the logistics that go along with camping at these festivals that are get flooded out and all this kind of stuff. Jam Cruise makes it really easy that you're at a music festival, but it's 2 seconds to go walk back to your room and change or regroup or take a nap, and food is always there and available, and you never have to worry about figuring out where to go or what to do. Like, it's all just super easy, and it just makes it a very kind of luxurious experience for a music festival. The demographic of the people that are there, I would say it's probably the majority would fall into the like 30 to 60 age range.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there are some kids. Kids are allowed, but, not too many kids there. And then you've got, people in their 80s and 90s. So all different types of people, very LGBTQ friendly, very diverse group of people. It's not all couples or all big groups or all singles. It's a little bit of everything. And I think everybody's there to meet people. It's just really open and a fun vibe.
Yeah, and I would like to mention the crowds were super friendly. The participation with the costumes and the little handouts was amazing. I've hardly ever seen that much participation in a crowd, especially when it comes to dressing up and wearing costumes.
Yes, that was really cool. I think the theme nights was one of our favorite parts about it, because we're huge into Halloween and dressing up fancy for events and wearing crazy costumes and throwing themed parties. So this was right up our alleyway. That's one of the things that appealed to us initially the most about Jam Cruise. So they had theme nights. They had 3 official theme nights that get announced throughout the year leading up to the next Jam Cruise. I don't think they've announced any yet for Jam Cruise 22. But the official themes for our cruise, it left on Valentine's Day. So Lovers was the first theme. So people would wear pink and red and hearts and, dress like cupids and things like that. It was really cute. And then they also had What's Cookin'. That was a little bit tricky to dress up for, but anything like food, chefs, restaurants, anything like that. And then there was, what was the other one? Vegas night. So it was Fear and Jamming in Las Vegas. So a riff off of the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas movie. So people, dressed in blackjack or characters from the movie or, Vegas style showgirl outfits, things like that. And then they also had some unofficial theme nights that are organized by the Facebook groups. So if you sign up for Jam Cruise, then you can join the Facebook groups and find out all this additional information, meet people, and they vote on unofficial themes for the night. Somehow everyone finds out about this and completely goes crazy dressing up for these. So our unofficial theme nights were Neverland, which was, kind of mermaids and pirates. So these are our outfits from Mermaid Neverland night. And then they also had Everything Circus. And they actually did a circus parade throughout the whole boat. So the themes are really fun. People get into it. I would say 95% of the people dress up. Certainly you don't have to. And there's all levels of dressing up. But I was very impressed. We've been to Fantasy Fest in Key West and some things like that. And this was even, I thought, better participation and more elaborate costumes, even though everyone's having to bring all this in their suitcases. So we love that part about it. So yeah, I think if you like dressing up, if you like the type of music that they have on board, if you like cruises, if you like meeting new people and having a great time, then you're going to love Jam Cruise. So thanks for listening to our video. And we're going to make a couple additional videos. So this was a more general, just to give people a feel for what Jam Cruise is like. And then we're also going to do a video about everything you really need to know if you're a first timer. So a deep dive into, all the nitty gritty aspects of it. Because I had a ton of questions and I really couldn't find the answers to a lot of the questions. So we wanted to make something that really answers any possible questions you might have. And then we're also going to make a video about tips and tricks and hacks and what to pack. So stay tuned for our next videos, and we hope to see some of you on a next Jam Cruise.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe.